Hey, my name is Zach, and today we're going to talk about how we made the DC fan film The Batman Harvest Moon. I knew when we wrote the script that we wanted to use an underrated villain from Batman's Rogues Gallery, so naturally we went with Scarecrow. Scarecrow is a very interesting foe to me because him and Batman utilize fear, but for morally opposite reasons. Batman for justice and Scarecrow for simple and pure terror. For Scarecrow's look, I made some concept art of possible designs. I knew I wanted that lawn brown trench coat, kind of like what he wore in Arkham Knight, and in my mind I wanted him to wear like a tactical military vest. I don't know why, it just looks pretty cool, honestly. But after talking to the producer Josh, we went with a Freddy Krueger-esque green striped sweater. For his weapon, we were pretty 50-50 between haysickles or a Grim Reaper scythe. In the end, as you know, we went with the haysickles. For one of the scenes where we wanted Scarecrow to look even more frightening, we put this plastic Halloween store mask underneath his burlap mask, and we turned on the built-in orange LED lights. They made his eyes and mouth glow, and it looked pretty cool. For the fear toxin, we used this stuff called haze in a can. I found out about it after watching an episode of Film Riot. So when the scene was shot, I had someone on crew shoot the haze out of the can while standing out of frame. And on top of that, I also composited a fake haze asset that I found on footagecrate.com, just to thicken it up a little bit. If you watch this fan film, you'll know that it takes place in the Matt Reeves universe, with Robert Pattinson's Batman, obviously. So we spent weeks and many video calls trying to figure out how to capture that dirty, stylistic look that you see in the Batman the best way that we could. We watched some behind-the-scenes videos in the film and interviews with Matt Reeves himself, and they definitely helped. Our initial plan was to buy some vintage lenses to get that cinematic soft fall off, but after looking at the prices, What I ended up doing in post was I would make a mask around the footage and I would add a Gaussian blur effect. I feathered the heck out of it and it looks pretty good, I think. It makes the image look much softer and more stylized. During pre-production, I actually put the batsuit on myself and I made a short little test footage to get an idea of what I wanted. It was a very quick thing. In many of the real Batman films, they filmed a lot of it in Chicago. Those humongous buildings with the grand architecture really captures that feeling of that gritty Gotham hellscape, you know? So, what did we do? We went to Chicago, we went to the real Gotham City, and that definitely increased our production value tremendously. For the fight with the henchmen, our plan was to film it at this gigantic abandoned factory, or at least we thought it was abandoned because the owner showed up and kicked us out. So there we were, one night with the entire cast and crew with no location. Luckily, Josh's family member lived down the road and she let us film it in her barn. It's definitely not what we had in mind, but at that point we had to take what we could get. So we filmed it, I edited it, added sound effects, muzzle flashes, all that stuff, and we posted it online. Long story short, you all hated it.
Batman, more like Slothman.
Wow, good one. You really got us, user 2277704600614. So obviously we had to practice the choreo much more, make it much faster. So our producer Josh ended up choreographing both fights in the film himself. For the alley scene with Thomas and Martha Wayne, I think it's pretty clear it's Crime Alley, where Bruce's parents were shot and killed. The night we filmed, there must have been like an invisible tornado in Chicago because it was so windy. But that's not even it. It was only windy in that one particular alleyway. People would walk up to us and say, "Hey, it's only windy here. That's weird."
You're wrong.
There are numerous locations in this fan film. The crime scene, Scarecrow's hideout. These actually weren't that hard to get. It was all just Airbnb. If you haven't watched the fan film yet, I'm just going to give you a little spoiler warning. Okay, you've been warned. The location for the crime scene as well as Black Mask's office was actually the same house. The rooms were side by side with no door. It was just a gigantic opening. So we had to be sneaky with our angles to not give it away. And sometimes you can kind of tell. I must have watched the crime scene from the Batman 100,000 times. I focused on the shots they used, that warm orange glow from those practical lights. For the last scene with Black Masks, I definitely took inspiration from Arkham Origins. I made a few sketches to get an idea of what I wanted him to look like. I wanted that nice tailored, clean white suit and that glossy skeletal mask, you know? So I bought the suit on Amazon and the mask off of Etsy. And another spoiler coming up. Ready? At the end of the short film, we hint on Deathstroke making an appearance in the future. Even if this fan film gets 100 views, I don't care. I'm gonna make it. I've always wanted to see Batman and Deathstroke go toe-to-toe in an amazing fight scene. Wow, I wish I could have seen that. So if you want to see Batman and Deathstroke perform in some fisticuffs, be sure to like and subscribe. I think I might actually start a crowdfunding campaign for the sequel because for Harvest Moon, all of it came out of our own pocket, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of tough. The money would probably go to the Batsuit because the Batsuit now is taking a beating, and it's looking pretty rough, man. And then some of the money would go to locations because we want cool locations, obviously, who doesn't? I already have some concepts for Deathstroke. I actually already have the entire costume, so the sequel is on the way, woo! It will take a lot of time, obviously, but if you stick around, I think you'll like it. Also, in the opening crime scene, when Batman walks in, we actually put some hay on the floor. We just thought it might be a cool detail that you might not catch on first glance, like an Easter egg. And speaking of Easter eggs, when I was editing, I actually put a few in. In Batman's opening monologue, the camera slowly pans down to a bus stop. On the dirty glass, if you look closely, you can see the words, "Riddler was right" in graffiti. On top of that, in the opening monologue, a bus quickly passes by the camera. If you pause and look really closely, you can see a banner that's promoting Harvey Dent's campaign for mayor. I saw online that John Hamm was a popular fan cast for Harvey Dent, so I threw him in there. In the closing monologue for this horror film, I really wanted that final shot to be Batman standing on a rooftop with his cape flowing in the wind, obviously inspired by the animated series. I tried my absolute best to get access to a rooftop, but I couldn't do it, so I opted out for a green screen shot. I put on the batsuit myself one day and had someone aim a leaf blower at me to mimic wind. I found this rooftop stock footage on Artlist.com and I edited myself in, and it looks terrible, so I didn't use it. Instead, I made the call to show the bat signal in the nighttime sky. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Zach, hoping you have a great day and an even greater tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Bye.